Customs and Border Protection sources say the number show more than 1.6 million encounters for the fiscal year of 2021. This would be the highest since the agency's inception in 1924. The new report coming as the Texas Department of Public Service reports a record number of arrests of criminal illegal aliens and gang members through Operation Lone Star, the state's program in Texas to combat the smuggling of people and drugs into the states. We're watching one of the chases there now. Christopher Olivares is the lieutenant with the Texas Department of Public Safety. He joins us now with a firsthand account of what's happening at the border. And I'm going to start with this, Lieutenant. You've got some images that you shared with us of a recent drug haul at the border. We'll show that where you say Texas DPS, look at this, seized a massive amount of marijuana, also 15 pounds of heroin. How did you find this? Describe the situation to us.
Well, good morning, and it's great to be with you. So, ever since this crisis started back in January, what's happening right now with the surge of migrants that are coming across, it's allowing these cartels and these criminal organizations to become even more powerful, more ruthless, because right now the federal government is failing to secure the border. These drugs that we're seizing, these are drugs that are being seized by Texas Department of Public Safety personnel. These are drugs that are coming across the river. These are not drugs that are being seized at the ports of entry. These are drugs that are coming across the river from Mexico into the border communities. And we're seeing cocaine, we're seeing heroin, marijuana, and even fentanyl that's coming across the river. And then you have weapons and currency going across into Mexico. The same concept. They're not only going through the ports of entry, they're also finding routes to get their product across by river.
Lieutenant, is that where, and I'm just common sense spitballing with you, but is that where you would need the border wall there to be upon completion to assist you to stop this flow of illegal drug activity?
Right. So perfect example of a barrier that's effective is what took place in Del Rio this past week. We deployed over 600 state troopers to the Del Rio International Bridge. They formed a steel wall, and they were able to contain that area and stem the flow of migrants that were coming in. There were still thousands in Mexico waiting to come across, but we were able to prevent that with a barrier. So a barrier, fencing, a wall, it does help law enforcement. It's a very effective tool to reroute criminal activity to other areas where we can place those assets. There's so much area, so many miles to cover along the border. Yeah. And right now, what's taking place right now with the federal government not stepping in, it's very disturbing.
Well, your governor there, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, he actually tweeted out some photos as well. The photos are of the Texas National Guard working to apprehend illegal migrants and stem the flow of criminal activity spewing into the country. Again, you're looking at what was being apprehended there on the borders again, and those were more of illegal immigration happening, illegal migrants rather coming across the border, not legally through the legal process, through our court system, it's seeking asylum, etc. And that was again put out by the governor. Then you have this, Panama's government warning of a massive caravan of migrants heading this way. It's allegedly Haitian descent is what we're being told from Panama's government in reporting. What do you do to prepare for that? We saw 15,000 earlier. They were sent back. Now there's this report. There may be even more, tens of thousands coming. Is there any credibility to that, and are you preparing, sir?
Right. So we had information that was taking place even when the Del Rio situation was going on. We do have assets prepared for that. But again, 15,000, that was a lot when that happened in Del Rio. But keep in mind, we still have thousands and thousands that are crossing every single day along the southern border that are coming across. But the situation is that Del Rio at the time did not have the infrastructure in place to accommodate that amount of illegal immigrants coming across. But again, we're seeing this happen daily. And one thing that Governor Greg Abbott did back in March under his leadership and guidance, launched Operation Lone Star. Right now, we're deploying over 1,000 Texas Department of Public Safety personnel to the southern border, along with the Texas Military Department. In addition to that, he also constructed a temporary border fencing in the Del Rio sector. This is fencing that allows our personnel, state resources, to be on property, on landowners' property, ranches, to arrest illegal immigrants. And right now, we have arrested over 1,000 illegal immigrants. These are ones that are going undetected. They're avoiding apprehension. We've come across individuals that have ties to transnational criminal organizations, MS-13, criminal gang members. So this is not only a humanitarian crisis, this is a national security crisis. And we're doing what we can as far as providing all these state resources.
Yeah.
But the federal government does need to step in and do its part as well.
Final question for you before you go. You talk about a humanitarian crisis. We are in the midst of a pandemic. Make no mistake about that. Are they being tested? Are they being given vaccines as they enter our borders? Because we do know that some are let in, depending upon certain circumstances.
From what I understand, talking to Border Patrol agents on the ground, they're not being tested unless they experience some type of symptoms. For the vast majority are not being tested for COVID. So again, that's another health concern that these individuals are being released into our communities and they're not being tested.
Lieutenant, we appreciate the good work. Lieutenant Christopher Olivares joining us live with firsthand account. Thank you, sir.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.